Let me be honest with you, I used to be terrified of failing. That fear kept me frozen. I passed on opportunities. I said no to projects, and I hid behind excuses like, I'm not ready yet. Sound familiar? Here's the twist. The biggest growth I ever experienced, the breakthroughs that led me to real financial progress, didn't come from winning. They came right after I fell flat on my face. That's when I realized something most people never talk about. Every failure I celebrated sped up my financial success. And today I want to share with you why celebrating failures might be the accelerator you've been missing. This isn't empty motivation. This is real. My story, my scars, and the mindset that changed everything. Since childhood, we've been programmed to believe failure is shameful. A bad grade in school equals humiliation. Losing in sports brings mockery. And as adults, a failed business or being fired makes us feel inadequate. This belief chains us and prevents us from even trying. I lived under that weight. My first business collapsed and I lost money, time, and confidence. But the worst part wasn't the loss itself. It was the shame I carried like a scarlet letter. Here's the crazy part. If instead of hiding, I had celebrated it, I would have seen the hidden seed of everything I later learned. Back then I didn't know it, but now I do. One day I read a phrase that hit me like a lightning bolt. Failure isn't the end, it's real-time feedback. That's when it clicked. Every mistake wasn't proof of weakness. It was information, a compass showing me what to fix and where to go. So I did something strange. I started celebrating my failures. Yeah, really. Every time I messed up, instead of beating myself up, I wrote it down in a notebook and labeled it Hidden Victory. Do you know what happened? My fear began to vanish, because now the worst-case scenario wasn't humiliation. The worst-case scenario was learning. And once fear loses its grip, you take more shots, you test more ideas, you take more risks, and that's when the magic starts to happen. I'm not alone in this discovery. Walt Disney was fired because he lacked imagination. Steve Jobs was thrown out of Apple, the very company he founded. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter existed. If they had hidden in shame, we'd never know their names. But here's the key. They reframed their failures as fuel. I had my own Disney moment too. A marketing project I poured everything into completely tanked. I ended up in debt and embarrassed. But that failure, it taught me exactly how not to launch campaigns. That lesson became the foundation for the business that later gave me stability. Do you see it? Failure isn't loss. It's prepaid tuition. You might be asking, okay, but how do I celebrate something that hurts? Here's my process. It's simple but powerful. Name it without fear. Say, yes, I failed, so what? Naming it makes it manageable. Extract the lesson. Write down, what did I learn here that I couldn't have learned otherwise? Finding clarity in the experience is key for growth. Find the hidden gift. What did this failure save me from? Sometimes a small mistake saves you from a much bigger disaster. Create a ritual toast with a coffee. Write it in your Hidden Victories journal. Or tell it as a funny story to a friend. Speaking it out loud kills the shame. Repeat. Every celebrated failure becomes a stepping stone. The brain rewires itself when you do this. Fear transforms into curiosity. Curiosity turns into action. And action, sooner or later, it turns into money. Financial success isn't luck. It isn't magic. It's math. The person who tries 10 times, even if they fail, 9 learns 9 lessons and lands 1 victory. That changes everything. I stopped dragging my failures like chains. I started collecting them like trophies. That's when acceleration happened. Because I realized if you win, even when you lose, then there's no way to lose. The next time you fail, don't cry, don't hide, don't punish yourself. Smile and say, that's one less step between me and my success. Because at the end of the day, the difference between those who only dream and those who actually achieve financial freedom isn't talent or luck or money. It's how they choose to dance with their failures. Now I want to hear from you. What's your biggest failure? And what lesson did it hide? Drop it in the comments. If this video gave you a new perspective, hit subscribe, share it with someone who's struggling. And remember, here we don't celebrate empty wins. We celebrate failures that build empires. Every setback is an opportunity disguised as a lesson waiting for us to embrace it. In this journey, it's crucial to surround yourself with those who uplift you, who remind you that failure is merely a pit stop on the long road to success. Keep your eyes on the prize, and remember the most significant achievements often come from the ashes of our biggest failures. As you rise from each stumble, visualize your destination clearly, and let every misstep fuel your ambition. The journey is not just about reaching the summit. It's about learning, growing, and becoming resilient along the way. So take a moment to reflect on your experiences, share them, and let's build a community where failure is celebrated as a stepping stone to greatness.